Not so long ago, this was me. 248 pounds of pure fat, sadness, and insecurity personified. Even though I'm smiling in most of these pictures, inside I was anything but happy. I was tired, insecure, and completely lost when it came to my health and my body. I reached a point where I thought to myself, what's the point of even trying? It's never going to work. But just 2 years later, I look like this, and I'm proud of who I am, and my life has changed forever. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how I did it, the mistakes I made, the lessons I learned along the way, and how you can do the same. But how did I even end up so fat in the first place? Well, it didn't happen overnight. It was a slow burn, a year of bad habits, no structure, and to be honest, just neglecting myself. I wasn't moving much, I wasn't training, and I was eating like shit. But it was the weekends where I did the most damage. I'd sit on the sofa for endless hours, scrolling on my phone and watching movies, and I'd eat without thinking about it. Anything from takeaways to random snacks to just anything I could get my hands on. There was one weekend where I even ordered Deliveroo 7 times, and as you could see from that, it's not an exaggeration. And half the time I wasn't even hungry. It was boredom eating, comfort eating. I was living my life on autopilot. It all stemmed from being trapped inside in 2020 and 2021, and it carried over. I was content with living an absent life, and I had no accountability for myself whatsoever. I didn't notice it at first because I was seeing myself every single day, but I was packing on the pounds, and eventually I couldn't even recognize myself, and that's the day I decided to change. There wasn't some huge dramatic moment, it was just like any other day. I came downstairs, I looked in the mirror, and there and then it finally hit me, and I thought to myself, Jesus Aiden, what the fuck are you doing to yourself? I was 24 years old, it was supposed to be the prime of my life, but I felt 40, I was tired, depressed, I had no sex drive, I didn't want to leave the house, I'd wear baggy clothing, and I'd avoid every social situation I could. I took this video of myself on that same day because I truly believed that from that day, everything would change. You can see it in my face right there. I looked and felt defeated, and to be honest, I'd given up on myself. But there and then in that moment, I decided that I cannot keep living like this because one day it will be so bad that I won't be able to change it. Of course, like most people that have those realizations, I decided to go all in. I immediately signed up to the gym, and I decided that I would never eat a carb again. In the first week, I lost 3 pounds, and I thought to myself, wow, in 16 weeks, I'll be completely shredded. In hindsight, that 3 pounds was mostly just water weight, and on day 9, I broke. I couldn't take it anymore. I had gone from one extreme to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and my mind just couldn't take it. I ended up spiraling for a few days, I binge ate, and I gained all the weight back that I had lost. And it was a similar story for the rest of the following year. I kept trying to go all in. I tried the keto diet, carnivore, paleo, and even vegan at one point. I also kept trying to train multiple times a day, whether that was running, training in the gym every day, and Muay Thai on top of all of that. And yes, in short bursts, I would lose weight, but I kept having to take extended breaks because my body just couldn't handle it. After a whole year of trying and failing and trying and failing over and over again, I lost a grand total of 10 pounds of fat. I felt so frustrated at the time because I thought to myself, I've put all of that effort in, for what avail? 10 pounds of fat? Maybe this stuff just isn't for me. But then it hit me. I wasn't continuously failing because of a lack of effort or just pure laziness. It was because I kept trying to adhere to extremes that just didn't fit in my life whatsoever. I would commit to extreme diets like keto and carnivore whilst going to the gym every single day in short bursts, but I just couldn't maintain it, so any amount of progress that I made during that time, I would quickly lose. So that's when I went back to the drawing board. In the second year, I did something entirely different. I stopped trying to eat the perfect diet or follow the perfect training plan. Instead, I just focused on the basics, and I created a system that fit with my lifestyle and worked with it and not against it. So here's exactly what I did step by step. Firstly, I set a realistic goal. Instead of saying to myself and deluding myself that I'd be shredded in 16 weeks, I said, look, I have 60 pounds of fat to lose, give yourself a year. From there, I worked out what a calorie deficit was for me, and I started making sure I was tracking how much I was consuming. As well as that, I tracked how much protein I was eating, and I would eat around 185 grams of protein per day. The diet I followed, and I still follow to this day, is the 80-20 diet, where 80% of my calories come from single ingredient whole foods like chicken, beef, eggs, rice, potatoes, fruit, and veg. And 20% of my calories come from foods I enjoy like crisps, ice cream, and even the occasional takeaway. I completely took away all the extreme restrictions that just didn't work for me. And I stopped feeling guilty about food. I just started focusing on balance. All of my meals are built around a source of protein, which is the anchor of an 80-20 diet. And that allowed me to actually build 8 pounds of muscle whilst losing body fat. For cardio, I implemented 10k steps every single day, no matter what. And that helped me burn hundreds of extra calories a day without even thinking about it. I also did Muay Thai 2 to 3 times a week, mostly because I fell in love with it as a sport, but also because it burns hundreds and hundreds of calories an hour, so the point where one session a week would have been enough. I started following an upper-lower split at the gym, focusing purely on form and progressive overload. I started off by doing 12 sets a week for each of my major muscle groups and eventually progressed to 16 sets. For rest and recovery, I made sure I got a minimum of 8 hours sleep per night, and whenever I felt like I needed a rest day, I gave my body it. But the absolute most important thing I did was I stayed consistent. In the first year, I made a lack of progress because I couldn't be consistent, so I made sure I corrected that this time out. I stopped caring about trying to be perfect in short bursts, and instead I just made sure I showed up 90% of the time, and that's what made the difference. This system changed everything for me. It allowed me to lose 60 pounds of fat in a year whilst putting on 8 pounds of muscle. Not only that, but it changed my life. I feel more confident, more happy, and more fulfilled than I've ever been in my life. And the best part? It didn't feel extreme. I ate foods I enjoyed. I had a social life. And I didn't work out for 3 hours every single day. But why did this work for me when nothing else did? Because it was simple. Not easy, but simple. I didn't shame myself into only eating clean foods. I made sure that I hit my calorie target and my protein target every single day without cutting out any food groups and while still eating foods that I loved. It didn't, and it still doesn't feel like a diet. On top of that, I started training with intent. I wasn't just showing up at the gym and doing some random half-assed workout. Every single time I went to the gym, I knew exactly what I was doing, for how much weight and how many reps, and that's what allowed me to make so much progress. But most importantly, I stopped looking for shortcuts and I focused on what works. And funnily enough, by doing this, I found my purpose. I want to help every single person that can relate to that situation get to where I am right now. So if you're sat there right now, overweight, sad, lonely, unconfident, and feeling like nothing will ever work for you, I'm here to tell you that it can and it will. I promise you, if you use the same approach that I've just described, you can change your life. If it worked for me, it can work for you. If you want some help with your own transformation and you're ready to change your life, you can book a coaching application call with me, link in the description. Other than that, I hope this video helped or gave you some inspiration. If it did, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.